Developers don't have to be scared of making simple arithmetic mistakes or small bugs that could potentially cost them millions and millions of dollars.
So all of these things are actually stored on the smart contracts within the MOI blockchain, right? So why are we doing this? Firstly, for security. Secondly, for scalability. Right?
We're gaining a lot of traction through the excitement levels that are coming through from MOI and the feedback that we're getting, and the fact that it's now going to be a blended investment that's going to be partly in the parent company Salva as well as in the token. And this has created a huge amount of gains in responses to our emails.
The All.Mac DevNet is going public at the end of September. In just a few weeks' time, you'll be able to access a completely revamped set of features. That essentially means you'll get access to validator operations, you'll get access to PISA, 0.6 features that I just spoke about, and this is my favorite part.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ruta. I will be today's moderator for the call. First of all, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. It's so nice to see a lot of names that I saw at our last call, and to our newcomers, welcome. Today is our second community call. Our first was our biggest milestone yet. We had AK, our founder, JP, our head of marketing, and Rahul, our head of protocol, talk a little bit more about what is MOI and delve a little deeper into the details. Today, we're building on that momentum. With some new exciting updates, we're here to talk about a product spotlight, and we're finding new ways for you to get involved as always. A quick bit of housekeeping. This call will be posted on our YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that after our call. As well as if you want to see our last community call, you can head over to our YouTube channel as well. So with that, let's get started. As I always say, MOI focuses on the people, which is why we're bringing young minds together. Everyone, please welcome Adi, our DevRel lead, to share our monthly tech updates.
Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. My name is Adi. I recently joined MOI a couple of months ago as the developer relations engineer, and I'm super excited to give you all an update about what we've been working on recently. Yeah, so without further ado, let me get started ahead. Super excited you all are here because this isn't just a regular update session. Today we're going to talk about why MOI is honestly such a game changer and how it flips the entire blockchain model on its head. And most importantly, what that means for you as developers. All right, let's set the stage a little bit. Most blockchains today are built like giant single file lines. One massive queue, whether you're swapping tokens in London or booking a cab in New York, you still have to wait a turn. Totally unrelated stuff ends up blocking each other, that slows things down, and honestly makes the whole experience feel clunky. And it's not just slow, right? It's risky. On most chains, your assets, your logic, all sit inside one big shared smart contract. If one gets hacked, everyone's funds are at risk. And we've all seen those $100 million exploit headlines before. MOI completely flips this model. We're participant-centric. We put people, not platforms, at the center of the network. And this is where context awareness comes in. On MOI, every interaction actually knows what's going on, who's involved, what's happening, where and under what conditions. And at the core of all this is Coco, MOI's context-oriented programming language. Coco lets you write rich, participant-aware logic, and it's designed to be super safe. Now, let me dive a little deeper into what this means for you as a developer. So first up, we have low-code, no-code building, which is honestly really, really cool. Thanks to PISA, our personalized virtual machine, you can start fast with just JavaScript SDKs. You don't need to learn any Coco on day one. PISA essentially comes with pre-built interaction types. Think asset transfers, commerce flows, and even agentic AI. So you can ship something useful in literally a few hours. You don't have to spend weeks and weeks building stuff. With the way PISA is built, you can literally build something really cool within a few hours. And then once you want to build something more powerful, you want to go more deep into Coco or more deep into participant-centric logic with more complex business rules, you can use Coco for exactly that. You also get completely true ownership of your assets and logic. Nothing's locked up in a giant shared smart contract as it is in Ethereum and other traditional blockchains. So if one user gets compromised, it doesn't put the entire pool at risk. MOI also has native auditability, which basically means that small mistakes aren't fatal like they are in, again, traditional blockchains, meaning developers don't have to be scared of making simple arithmetic mistakes or small bugs that could potentially cost them millions and millions of dollars. And another really cool aspect that developers really can enjoy is parallelism. MOI uses causal ordering, so unrelated stuff can run in parallel. Think of it like cab bookings. If I book an Uber in San Francisco, it has absolutely nothing to do with someone booking another Uber in New York City. So why should they block each other? On MOI, they don't. Both finalize instantly, and this is what makes MOI feel as smooth as Web 2 while staying completely decentralized and safe. We call it a thinking network because it adapts to your context in real time. So let's talk about what's shipping next, the development updates. The upcoming Coco and Pizza version 0.6.0 release is stacked. The first big feature is cross-logic calls. This essentially means apps can finally talk to each other natively, and you can build complex workflows that connect multiple dApps together. And we've baked in interaction level security. And this is way safer than Ethereum-style cross-contract calls. The second feature is intelligent assets. These let you define your own asset standards with compliance rules, trust policies, and even embedded business logic. So instead of writing a ton of complex contract code, you can manage your assets natively, which is way safer and much more simple. And on top of that, GoMoi, which is our code node software, is getting a major glow up. It now runs on Krama v2, our upgraded consensus mechanism. So you get much stronger security and much better performance. And you'll also be able to stake and unstake directly from the client. We've added native validator operations to it. And finally, everything is fully compatible with Pizza v 0.6.0. And we're also making a lot of progress on the formal verification of Krama, our causal consensus mechanism. If you're new to Krama, it's what allows MOI to process unrelated transactions in parallel and still guarantee correctness. Formal verification means we're mathematically proving its safety and liveness and making sure it'll stay secure and keep making progress. And once this is done, MOI will be ready to scale to million node networks, which is a huge milestone for global adoption. And here's a big one. Here's a big update. The Olmec DevNet is going public at the end of September. In just a few weeks' time, you'll be able to access a completely revamped set of features. That essentially means you'll get access to validator operations, you'll get access to Pizza 0.6 features that I just spoke about, and this is my favorite part, a completely revamped set of Coco documentation. We've added a bunch of advanced examples, tutorials, and step-by-step guides, onboarding guides to make it dead simple to start building. So any developer, once this update goes through by the end of September, any developer will be able to pick up these documentations, these examples, and just start building immediately right there. We've made it so easy. And finally, this is my personal project that I'm leading up. We're super pumped to announce the University Grant Program. It's a 10-week experience where students essentially get to build a full-stack decentralized app, publish technical articles, and get mentorship directly from the MOI team. If you're a student dev, this is your chance to level up and ship something real on a cutting-edge network. And the best part about this is two things. One, it's a fully funded program, meaning you're going to get token incentives as well as cash incentives. But the second incentive that I find really, really cool is that you're going to get hands-on access to the rockstar engineers that have powered such a powerful network and protocol, meaning you're going to get one-to-one access to talk to the great minds behind this. And that could be potentially one of the best learning opportunities in the crypto space right now. So here's a call to action, right? If you're a developer who's interested in learning more, who wants to play around with Coco or Pizza, or if you're a student who's interested in applying for the University Grant Program, all you got to do is scan the QR code on the slide and reach out. and we can get started right away. MOI is here to build a safer, faster, and more human-centric internet, and we honestly can't wait to see what you create. It's been great talking to you all. I'm Adi, the Developer Relations Engineer, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adi, for that. I think this is something very exciting that you're working on, maybe because I am a student myself. But I'm really excited to see how this industry by academia partnership progresses and how it all works out. Here at MOI, we're all about integration, and that's why we say it's not just Web 2 or Web 3. We're here to use existing Web 2 applications that are powered by Web 3. Now, let's turn the spotlight to XooG, a product built on MOI. To share what it is, why it matters, and how you can engage with it, I'd like to invite Arjun, the Associate Vice President at ZenZ Solutions.
Yeah. All right. So what is XooG? XooG is a secure email communication tool which we enable. Right? So, you guys might have a question about why even have a secure email gateway when emails by themselves are considered very secure. Right? So we add another layer of encryption, another layer of security over and above, just to bring in more. Just to ensure that all the data is completely proofed well as it is any kind of a sensitive data can be covered completely, right? You might want to send passwords, you might want to send, let's say, bank statements, and you are always not in a position where you can open your laptop and see it in a safe and a secure way. You might be in a public space, for example, right? So we ensure that these kind of problems can be tackled through this tool called as XooG. The next slide, please. Yeah. So before I go ahead, I would like to share certain pointers with respect to the R&Ds which made us realize why XooG is important, right? So email has always been the most secure way of communication since the last 15-20 years. But through advent of phishing mechanisms, we have theft of data as well as access also, right? So a very interesting stat done by a survey in 2022, that there was about 569% increase in malicious phishing emails, right? So this is a big number. And with the present, day with all the AI tools and with all the AI enhancements, this number might have even blown up by 2026. So this has always been a problem. It's not with respect to AI or not, but this has always been a problem in all places, even within corporates, right? So organizations struggle to secure sensitive communications within teams. The biggest examples being crypto exchanges. So most of the crypto funds have been stolen due to negligence by an internal team member, right? So throughout, by seeing all of these things, we have realized that there has always been a need for such a tool, and the existing solutions out there are always too complex or they're super expensive, right? And by the way, for every data breach, right, per data breach, which is cost due to phishing emails, has roughly amounted to about $4.4 million. That's like a huge amount, right? So considering all of these things in mind, we thought about how do we solve these particular problems, and hence the birth of XooG. Next slide. Yeah. So Web3 has, always suffered from major issues with respect to UX and adoption, right? So XooG actually integrates Web 2 to Web3, right? How, you might ask? So XooG is actually an Outlook add-in which seamlessly ensures that email encryption and decryption is provided, along with the benefits of recording this particular activity on blockchain. So I know this statement is kind of complex, but I can quickly share some screenshots which shows our product. Obviously, considering the time, I may not have enough time, but we can definitely get on a separate call to discuss the advantages and see the entire flow of XooG, which we'll do it in a very short format later on. So we have realized around 60 to 65% of businesses use Microsoft Outlook for their email services. So we thought, why not start off with Outlook as the best option, but then definitely, and of course, expanding to Gmail, Zoho, etc., and other email providers with that. So XooG, firstly, is organization-based. That means that it is not meant for retail or individual users. It is meant for organizations to adopt this particular tool and provide it to their employees so that they can safely do this communications over email. XooG also has an admin dashboard where we do user management, where you can invite people over, you can delete their access. Users as well can log into their dashboards and then accept invitations, see how many emails they have sent, etc. It's a huge set of parameters within that particular dashboard. And obviously, all of this is blockchain powered, right? So each and every activity of encrypting as well as decrypting, we like to call it as zooging and dezooging, this entire process. So all of these things are actually stored on the smart contracts within the MOI blockchain, right? So why are we doing this? Firstly, for security. Secondly, for scalability, right? So I'll definitely show you a few screenshots. Considering the time, as I said, we'll just quickly see how this works. It's nothing too complex. It's a very simple add-in which probably anybody can pick it up within like 15-20 minutes at the max. So here I have email, right? Somebody's sending me their Swiss bank account password, right? So you see here the content which is highlighted is the actual sensitive content. So while I have this email open, or while the sender is composing this email, they can actually go ahead and click the XooG new option, which you see on the top right-hand corner. On the top menu bar. So you see here, once you click this right-hand section of the add-in gets open, where you see the XooG and you see you see the organization, you see the advanced options, etc. Right? So all you need to do is you just need to highlight this particular sensitive information and click on the button which says XooG. Okay? And that's it. You have completed the encryption. Next slide, please. Before you do this, obviously there are certain checks. You have to get invited by an admin from your organization, and you also need to have an IOMI ID, which is again linked to this entire process. So once you click this XooG button, you see the content which is highlighted in red now. It says this content is protected by XooG. So when you send it over to the receiver, right, even he will see this placeholder content here. He will not be seeing the actual readable format, right? So next slide, please. So this is the receiver's view. So you see it says the content is still protected by XooG. So he would have to click the button dezoog, and only then he can see this particular information. Could you just go to the previous slide? Just a second. One thing I forgot. By the way, it's not just text which you can XooG. You can also XooG in attachments also, because again, I would say it's far more important than text, right? What if you're sending somebody's bank statements? So you see here, the XooG attachments, you see there's a dummy PDF which has been attached. By the way, this attachment happens on this particular add-in. It is not your regular attachments what you do onto emails, right? You have to open the add-in and then you have to add the attachment to that particular add-in. So you see that there is an attachment here on the Outlook email. But if you click on that, right, the one which says 62.7 kilobytes, if you click on that, I mean, you still will not be able to see the contents. So you have to, again, I mean, the receiver has to be on XooG, prerequisite 1, prerequisite 2, he has to be part of the same organization. In this case, it is test.org01, right? And he has to be invited by the admin of that particular organization. And only when these people, or let's say these employees, are part of the same network, is only when they can XooG and deZooG. So you really cannot, I mean, do this process even if you have somebody working in some other organization with different credentials altogether, right? So it has to, just because there are 2 users in XooG, this will not be possible. It has to be on the organization level. Yeah, please go ahead to the next slide. Yeah, so this is how the email is actually decrypted, or as we would like to call it, dezooging. This process of dezooging is when you get a separate window and then you are able to see this content which is highlighted in red, which is decrypted, right? So this is not specifically to one part or one section of the email. You can do this in any part of your email as long as it's the text. If you're doing it for any kind of images, then you would have to attach it, right? I mean, it could be any kind of files. It could be images, PDFs, Word documents, whatever. You would have to attach it through XooG. So this is how your attachment opens up. It opens up again to the in the browser. Again, in the browser, we'll have to re-log in. This is again another step of security, so that the browser knows that it is this person with this key who's trying to access the email. Trying to access the attachment through his email. Right? So, in the background, it sounds like a very complicated process, but for a user, it's pretty simple. They just have to so-called XooG as well as XooG messages. Next slide, please. So, what I showed you is just a high-level overview on a very straightforward feature of XooG. XooG, however, has other features. I'll quickly probably take a couple of minutes to walk you through them. Firstly, secure reader. The previous slide which you saw where there's the preview of the attachment, right? So that is called as a secure reader because it does not again open in your Outlook app, or even if you're using the browser version, doesn't open within the same flow. It opens in a completely different setup, right? So you have to again re-log in to that particular area just to see your particular attachment. So we have secure reader, we have something called as persistent protection, which would mean that you can actually disable people from downloading this particular content. Yes, definitely they can see a preview, but as with any attachments which goes in email, which is downloadable by default, right? Which can be natively downloadable. This can be disabled through XooG. So you cannot download the content, you can just view it. Next, we have a de-XooGing limit. So you can actually dictate how many times the receiver of the mail can actually view the particular encrypted content, right? So if let's say, for example, if you say 4, you put the de-XooGing limit as 4. So it's only 4 times which you can open and you can actually see that content. We have a validity timer, so you can put in a timer and say that this person can view this content only within this particular time. You can give a start time as well as an end time. And it's obvious that if you don't give an end time, it is basically up forever, right? For the receiver to see. We have a session duration, in which you can dictate how long you would like to be logging into XooG, right? So logging into Outlook is one thing, but logging into the Outlook add-in is another thing, right? So this is something which you can control under session duration. Then you have XooG Vault. This is a super important feature once again. So if you have any kind of, again, sensitive attachment, right? It could be a PDF, it could be a Word file, you can move it into something called as a XooG Vault, which is using another product of Zenzi called as Capsule, which basically takes care of all the storage related inquiries which come in through XooG. So you can store something up on Capsule, which internally from XooG, it seems it's called as XooG Vault. So you can actually store something on XooG Vault, and that will be there protected forever, encrypted, right? And you can access it only with your particular IOMI ID. So these are just quite a few features which we have already developed, and this has gone live in the last month. So now we have the framework ready. We do know that this is a good solution. We have found enough feedback from our beta users that this is an awesome solution. But then now we want to take this framework into other modes of important communications, right? So it could be something like WhatsApp, SMS, Telegram, Slack. I mean, for the applications which allow add-in, something like Telegram and Slack, it's again, I would say it's a very easy way to implement this there as well. But we're looking at something something which would enable more robust solutions on SMS or WhatsApp for that. So next slide, please. Yeah. So there are a few observations. As I said, we have tested this with certain beta users. So we have found out that many companies are giving extreme importance to security and are spending like millions of dollars for training their employees on email security and phishing emails. Right? So all of this can actually be saved through XooG, right? There's no question about phishing email, any kind of a phishing email, right? When you try to log in, when you receive a phishing email, ideally you'd have to log in through XooG and then check the sensitive content, because all phishing emails try to lure you with some other kind of a sensitive content, right? So when you go into XooG, you'll basically realize that this is not the right email and it's not come from the right person, right? So a lot of money can be saved in this. We have seen a growing adoption among security conscious organizations. Regulatory drivers, right? There's a lot of increasing compliance requirements which is coming in through different geographical locations, right? Even in India, there's a DPDP Act that's coming in. So there's GDPR, HIPAA, etc. So there are multiple data compliance. There are multiple people who would have to follow this data compliance, and XooG is there already, and we are ready to take up the compliance issue as well, and it works perfectly fine with all of these particular data, because we do not hold data as it is. It is only tied to the key of the IOMI ID and the owner who pushes the file to the XooG vault or the sender receiver. Only these guys can actually see. So we cannot access that data even if we want to. Remote work impact, obviously after COVID, there's most of the communications have gone paperless and everything is moving by emails these days. So I'd say XooG fits in here as well. And secure email gateway market is expanding rapidly, and it's estimated to be about 10 plus billion by 2030. So there's a huge potential for XooG here. Next slide, please. So among all of this, why MOI? So we already know that MOI is a context-aware architecture. So decoupled data and code for faster, safer operations than traditional blockchains is always a big bonus, and that sits perfectly into what XooG is trying to achieve. True privacy, again, we are dealing with a lot of sensitive data here, right? So it has to be, we have to ensure that privacy is not compromised on. So no global state enables participant level privacy, which is probably more flexible than Ethereum or more secure than Bitcoin, right? Seamless interoperability. So XooG may extend to other blockchains in future, and we need to be ready when the demand comes in, and what better choice than MOI. Finally, cost efficiency. So lower transaction costs and faster processing than traditional blockchain solutions is the need of the hour. And emails being one of the, how many emails keep floating around throughout the world, right? For every second, there are probably a few billion emails which is moving around. So it has to be something which is cost efficient. And again, MOI fits in perfectly here. Yeah. So that's about it. You can check out our website at XooG.ai, and if you have any kind of queries, we'll be more happy to answer it. You can email us on hello@XooG.ai. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun. Hopefully XooG showed you all a little more of a glimpse of how MOI can actually be used and can unlock the power of blockchains in real-world applications today. I'm excited to see what other applications will be built on MOI. Of course, technology is just a part of our story. The other part is you guys, the community. To share how you can get more involved and what we've been up to this past month, I would like to invite JP to speak a little bit more on where we're at.
Hey, Rutha, thank you so much. If you could display the screen, that would be fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Cool. So it's been a really exciting month for MOI, I have to say. We've got some, as Adi covered over before, we have Sergio. We've got the developer program coming live and the stablecoin platform coming live as well. We've also been speaking to investors to bring in traditional VCs into the space. And we're gaining a lot of traction through the excitement levels that are coming through from MOI and the feedback that we're getting, and the fact that it's now going to be a blended investment that's going to be partly in the parent company Salva as well as in the token. And this has created a huge amount of gains in responses to our emails, and it's actually meaning that it looks like we're going to raise a sizable amount of money before our TGE, which is just what we needed to hear, really. We're still on track for a TGE at the end of this year. We've been speaking to the Ethereum Foundation and the team at Bonfires about doing a small collab with them using Bonfires. And that will open up the Ethereum Foundation and the Ethereum community to MOI, giving us exposure to them through their Context app and bring them into and align us into the Context chain. So we'll effectively have a Bonfire that works as a cross-platform bridge between MOI and Ethereum, which I'm really excited about, and I think is going to be a fantastic partnership going forwards. What it's also going to do is it's going to bring a lot of the old Ethereum faithfuls and those that are new to the space that wanted exposure to Ethereum in the first round, but obviously have missed the boat and feel that buying Ethereum at all-time highs is a little bit risky, when they can actually join MOI and actually still have exposure to the Ethereum community, the Ethereum network, but also more importantly gain the context abilities that are coming from the MOI network, which, as we covered over last month, the common sense of the fact that if I'm ordering a taxi in the UK and Ruth is getting a taxi in New Jersey, the fact that we're both sat in the same queue waiting for our transactions to be processed is utterly ridiculous. So making that more local and applying the context makes total sense. And that's where some of the really cool benefits that are coming through from what we've seen and how we're explaining it into the traditional VC market makes total sense to them as well. And they're really excited to be looking to take a small equity stake inside the parent company of Sava as well. And that's actually really adding a lot of interest into our deal flow as well, which is great news for us, and it's great news for you guys as well. What this means is the fact that it should mean that we are going to be fully funded before we go to TGE, and then our TGE will just be purely about token distribution and getting tokens into the holders and the users of the network, which is ideally what everybody wants to see, as it makes for a much more sustainable network and a much better long-term success. Ruta, could you switch sides for me if that's okay? Fantastic. So, and that brings me back to the thing, because obviously the joys of getting the tokens into the right hands means that we are going to be a proper community-centric project, which is what we've always wanted to be. We have our 8fest tickets going live on our contest. That contest is running now. If you want to go to 8fest in Las Vegas this year, please download our Telegram app and go and compete in our game. We'll be announcing the winner on just at the end of Token 2049 in Singapore. So it's like the 3rd of October to give you plenty of time to get ready to go over and party in Las Vegas, which it should be amazing. I mean, the rumors are already flying around about who's going to be playing. Snoop is alleged. Eminem's alleged. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's all looking very, very exciting. Our social media performances are improving. We're seeing improvements in impressions and engagements on Twitter. We're seeing our memes are still going from strength to strength. We've got our weekly updates on LinkedIn are driving it. We're having more input from different team members onto LinkedIn, and we're seeing improvements in the growth of the expansion of the people visiting our LinkedIn profiles, which is fantastic. Our Telegram AMAs are going better and better. We're now seeing genuine engagement on those. About MOI and understand what's going on. And that for me is the sign that we're actually on the right track and things are going well, which I'm very excited about. And then, of course, finally, we've got our ongoing conversations with our KOLs, and we've been speaking to some really cool KOLs in the space, some micro influencers, but also a couple of really big hitters, which we're very excited about, some of which are traditional Ethereum OGs, and I'm really excited to see them actually looking at coming on board with us to help us on our final push across the line. So yeah, I mean, we've got some really cool stuff coming, and we're really, really excited. I honestly can't tell you how exciting it is looking for October, where it's going to be great. And for those that are going to Vegas, it's going to be a lot of fun. And for those that are going to be in Token 2049 in Singapore, please reach out to us on-site Telegram. And I think AK is definitely going to be there. I think Varden's going to go. And I think there's going to be a couple of other members of the MOI team that are going to be in Singapore as well. So yeah, try and reach out on Telegram and grab hold of one of us if you've got any questions. That would be fantastic. We've got another AMA coming up this month, which is going to be fantastic. And then obviously we'll have more news about the TGEs that are coming through as well. So it's going to be a really interesting time, and I really hope that you guys will come along and join and take part.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we have a very fun month ahead of us, so I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so last but not least, here's my favorite part of all of these calls, our Q&As. As always, we've collected some great questions from Twitter, Telegram, and Discord that you guys have sent in, and let's see what everybody on the team has to say. Primarily, JP, what are like the biggest milestones coming in the next 6 months? Are there anything that people should really look out for? Is there anything on our social media pages that you really endorse? Do you have a favorite? What are you thinking is our biggest milestone to come?
I think our biggest milestone to come is going to be obviously our TGE and our KOL announcements, which are both due to come out in the next few weeks. I mean, that's going to be, for me, that's going to be the most exciting thing. It's always great when you see a big name come into the project, and that for me is one of the biggest successes, and I think that's going to be great. And of course, then we're going to have our TGE announcements, and we're going to have our run into the TGE, which is going to be, I think it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be great for the community as well, because you're going to finally get your hands on an allocation for tokens inside our project. And of course, our launch of our bonfire, where we're going to join up and have this partnership with the Ethereum Foundation. I mean, joining up on cross-chaining between us and Ethereum, I think is going to be amazing.
Absolutely. I think there's lots to look forward to. So I think everybody should keep a lookout on our social media pages, because we are very active and we are always looking for more input. And that's where you guys can give your opinions to us. Moving on, Adi, this one's for you. What makes MOI's approach to identity and assets safer than most traditional wallets?
So it all comes back to the fact that our foundations are participant-centric. Participants own their assets natively, which basically means that in traditional blockchains, all assets are just stored in a smart contract inside a mapping. So it's just like the address of a user is mapped to their token balances. So all of their balances are just stored in one big data structure. We do it completely differently, where each user has the unique assets completely associated with just them. So a chance of a large-scale hack is very, very low based on how we've built it.
Okay, that is definitely good to know. So when I win the lottery, I know where to go. And then finally, this is an open-ended question. Whoever wants to take it, maybe AK or Adi, but what's one thing you would love to see the community create on MOI?
I'll take it. Real-world applications, things that work with Web 2 and Web 3 together.
Okay. Do you have any particulars?
I don't know. I've always been fond of this cab hailing application. Today, cab hailing applications in blockchain just used for payment ledgers. So can you really have a decentralized cab hailing applications or food delivery applications, which are hyper-local and fully functional and kind of eliminates the middlemen, so that people who are really doing the work keep more of the values. Maybe those two will be my favorite things, because that helps the real people who are doing the work, and more importantly, it kind of works for those kind of situations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there are any people out there ready to build the next Uber, Lyft, or I don't know any other ride-hailing, Ola, then
right. So that
is the way to go. Yeah.
Local and community driven.
Yeah.
So the beauty is you can do that while being also globally connected. You can hail a cab, but also transfer your Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, with that, what an amazing session we had today, from hearing about the latest progress on the protocol to learning about XooG to exploring new ways to participate. We're making progress every single month. Mark your calendars, because our next call will be ecosystem focused, where we'll dive deeper into collaborations and integrations. Thank you all for joining us today and for being a part of MOI's journey. Together, we're really trying to not just build technology, we're building a fairer, more human internet. If you would like to be a part of this journey, here's how you can get involved. Sign up for our testnet as soon as it's live, or stay active on our socials and in our Telegram to catch updates and campaigns. Please do check out our Telegram game, because I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. If you'd like to play our Telegram game, just scan the QR code now. I will leave it up for like one more second before I stop sharing my screen. As always, thank you all so much for your time on this Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and see you next month. Bye-bye.